Hi, Annissa here with Firehouse Education and this week's Ask Annissa video column. And this week, our question came in via email, and the question's from Brent. And I just want to say, Brent, your question was so good. And I know you've heard me say that a lot lately, but it's not my fault. You guys are really sending me in really good questions. So here's Brent's question. It's a little long, so bear with me. He says, we are a full service restoration company and we do contents, but I don't know that we're doing them as good as we can be. What advice would you give to help us improve this side of our company? Okay, that is an extremely broad, open-ended question. So what I decided to do was to ask you some questions back, okay? In order to answer that question from you, which by the way is probably one of the top 3 questions that I get asked all the time. But in order to answer that question for you properly, Brent, I would need to ask you 3 questions. I would need to ask you, 1, what is your job profitability? I would need to ask you, what is percentages of the work that you, or the services that you provide in your company? And I'd also need to ask you, what is your customer feedback? Okay? Without the answer to those 3 questions, I really wouldn't know what to tell you that you need to improve on. And I'll tell you a little secret. Once you know the answers to those questions, you're going to be able to start narrowing down on your own what areas you best need to improve to have the biggest impact on your company. So for instance, if we don't know what our job profitability is, how do we know if we're doing things right? How do we know if we need better systems? How do we know if we need better quality check procedures, SOPs in place? How do we know whether we need training for our team or not? We would have no idea. The other thing is, if we do not know what the percentages of services that we provide to our clients make up our gross revenue, we're literally flying blind, okay? So and I hope I'm real clear on that. Like, imagine a pie chart, right? And you've got, in that pie chart, you've got firework, you have, main chunks of the pie, right? You've got fire, water, mold, sewer, cat loss, wind. There's all kinds of things you would maybe have in there, right? Forensic cleaning. Then inside of each of those chunks of the pie, you have a breakdown. For instance, on the fire, reconstruct, structure cleaning, content cleaning. Okay, those are all different parts of that pie. When you have mitigation work, you have several pieces of that pie. Is this water mitigation? Is it flood? There's a difference. So, you really want to break down and know where your percentages are in your gross revenue of those services you provide, because that's how we would be able to, of course, analyze and figure out how much of that whole pie. Let's say you do $1 million worth of work. You're doing $350,000 in fire, and you're doing $650,000 in mitigation work. Well, in the firework, we need to know how much of that firework is contents versus reconstruction, right? Because in reconstruction, there's not a whole lot of profit. In contents, there's a ton of profit. So we want to make sure where that whole pie breaks out, right? So now we know where our profit percentages are. Percentages of services provided. Then we need to know job costing. We need to know how much profit are you making on that content job? How much profit are you making on that mitigation job? How much profit did you make when you did that forensic cleaning or that reconstruction on that fire job? We need to know all of those pieces. Then we need to have customer feedback. If you do not know how your clients are experiencing your services and your company, again, flying blind here, okay? Once we know those 3 things, that's how we're going to be able to go, okay, we need training. Okay, we need more systems. Okay, we need actually SOPs. We have the wrong people driving the bus. We need to have better equipment, different equipment. Maybe we need to have better quality checks in our company, right? Because these are all of the pieces that are going to make up our overall picture. So without knowing those 3 areas, those 3 key areas, I don't know how to answer that question for you. And you aren't going to be able to answer that question for yourself either. So I'd kind of like to challenge you, anyone watching the video, to please do that in your company. If you have these answers, do you know what your job costing productivity is? What are your percentages of services offered and gross revenue? And what is your customer feedback? If you know those 3 key areas in your business, shoot me an email. Give me the data, let me know. I'll analyze it. Maybe I can give you some input on your business, or maybe you have that data but you want some input from me on that. So shoot me that question. So Brett, I'd like you to please answer those 3 questions for me. Shoot that back to me in an email, and then I can give you some more in-depth, real detailed answer on that. And I want to thank you very, very much for the email, taking the time to reach out to me. You know I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Be sure that you are subscribed to rnrmagonline.com's e-newsletter and be a super cool kid. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel on Firehouse Education on YouTube. And on that note, I will see you on next week's Ask Annissa video column.